style. And one reason why Stephanie White says that they have hung together is because of Kelsey Mitchell. The leadership, the grittiness.
And that is game, ladies and gentlemen. That is game. The Indiana Fever just defeated the Atlanta Dream. They turned the Atlanta Dream into a nightmare, okay? The game concluded with the Atlanta Dream being defeated, the Indiana Fever being on top with 77 points. The freaking Dream only scored 60 points. They held them to just 60 points for all 4 quarters played, guys. Again, I'm going to say it again. The Indiana Fever turned the Atlanta Dream into an Atlanta nightmare in tonight's game, okay? Tonight's game was giving Fever Dream, okay? If you catch my drift. Now, currently, right now, I'm actually watching the Las Vegas Aces take on the Seattle Storm, okay? While that's playing right now, it's still the first quarter, still early. I wanted to go over a little bit of this game, okay? Because I want to wait till the game charts actually load up on the WNBA's website to break down all the statistics. But we got to talk about the nitty and the gritty. First of all, this was a very low-scoring game. It was like the third quarter. Both the Fever, and the Dream was like in the 30-point range. I'm like, what is going on? How are y'all only scoring just 10 points per game at that point in the third quarter? Pathetic. This was a very physical game. It was a very chippy game. The freaking Fever, the Indiana Fever, had them girls in a blender. You understand me? They had them girls just tied up. They contained them. And the Fever was actually able to score, even though it was like low scoring for them. Just 77 points was all they could do in 4 quarters. Compared to the 60 points the Atlanta Dream put up, the Fever was actually able to hit threes throughout the entire game. The Atlanta Dream, aka the Nightmare, they were not able to put up threes at all. They only put up 3 threes. It took into the second quarter of tonight's game for both teams, both sides, to put up a three-pointer. In the second quarter, we had Kelsey Mitchell, of course. She was the leading scorer of tonight's game for both teams, like she almost always is. Kelsey Mitchell don't get enough flowers, okay? Kelsey Mitchell is her. She's from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. That's my Ohio State sister, okay? She played for OSU. She played for the Buckeyes. We got to give her flowers, okay? We got to give the Indiana Fever their respect. It wasn't until the second quarter where for the Fever, okay, Kelsey Mitchell put up the first 3. And then also in the second quarter for the Atlanta Dream, Alicia Gray put up the first 3. And in the fourth and final quarter, we saw Maya Caldwell of the Atlanta Dream, as well as Tahina Powpow of the Atlanta Dream, put up a 3-point shot. In the entire game, the Atlanta Dream only put up 3 3-point shots, whereas the Fever, the Indiana Fever, put up far more than that. Again, this was a very physical game, okay? Brianna Jones up against Aaliyah Boston, that was pretty good. Brianna Jones had, she ain't gonna lie, she pulled Aaliyah Boston's card just a little bit. She was just a little bit more efficient, a little bit more rugged, okay? At one point, they looked like they was about to fight, and they kind of let it go. They just was like, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it, sis. Just let me go. By the way, this is what I was drinking on tonight. Now, before y'all come for me, okay? It's barefoot, Fruitscato, strawberry, okay? I don't know what y'all was drinking on tonight, but it's the playoffs, okay? Today, I did skip the gym. I'm going to keep it real, but tomorrow morning, I got to crack this whip. Well, rather tomorrow afternoon, I got some homework to do for my Skill Bridge program, right? But, yeah, it was strawberry. Again, first of all, my mom is responsible for drinking about 25%. I had about 75% of it. She picked this bottle, okay? But all in all, guys, tonight's game, again, it's game 2 of the series. For the WNBA Playoffs 2025 season, the Atlanta Dream got turned into a nightmare thanks to the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever made the Atlanta Dream look pathetic, okay? First of all, let's take it back, okay, to Sunday. When it was game one of the playoff series, we saw the Indiana Fever lose. They fell to the Atlanta Dream down there in Atlanta, Georgia by 12 points. In today's game, the Atlanta Dream, aka the Nightmare, lost by 17 points. It was 60-77 because of how defensive the Indiana Fever was, as well as how offensive they were. Pretty much, they were great on both sides of the ball. Whereas the Atlanta Dream, they were terrible on both sides of the ball. We can never forget. I believe it was the third quarter. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It was either the second quarter or the third quarter. We saw it was like less than 10 seconds on the freaking clock, right? Before the end of the quarter. It was either the second or the third. We saw Kelsey Mitchell steal the ball from the Atlanta Dream, literally take the food out of their mouths, give it to Lexi Hall. Lexi Hall takes the ball and puts up a freaking 3-point shot. Beautiful. It was just sweet poetic justice. I'm telling you guys, the Indiana Fever is hard to contain. They cannot be contained. They want it. They want it bad. They want a championship after all the injuries they've been through. They've been through so much. And I've always said in their eyes, they have this mentality of, we did not come this far just to come this far. Let's get into the individual player statistics. Okay, let's start with the Fever, who was on top. They won. Lexi Hall put up 7 points. She had 1 assist, 5 rebounds. Natasha Howard had 12 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. Aaliyah Boston had 15 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Odyssey Sims had 5 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell had 19 points, 4 assists, 0 rebounds. Ariel Powers. Okay, shout out to Ariel Powers. She had 3 points, 0 assists, 7 rebounds. Shea Petty had 3 points, 1 assist, 2 rebounds. Michaela Timpson had 9 points, 0 assists, 3 rebounds. And Brianna Turner had 4 points, 1 assist, 6 rebounds. For the Dream, aka the Atlanta Nightmare, Nas Hillman had 8 points, 3 assists, 7 rebounds. Ryan Howard had 10 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Brianna Jones had 8 points, 1 assist, 2 rebounds. Alicia Gray put up 9 points, 2 assists, 7 rebounds. Jordan Canada had 4.6 assists, 0 rebounds. Jordan Canada, it was just a cardio day for you, I guess. I don't know. Nia Coffey had 0 points, 0 assists, 2 rebounds. Brittany Griner had 7 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound. Tahina Powell had 11 points, 0 assists, 1 rebound. Okay, Maya Caldwell had 3 points, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds. Guys, and we are back. Okay, I waited about just less than 10 minutes, say, for the game stats. Okay, the game chart stats to drop officially on the WNBA.com's official website to talk about the overall game statistics for both teams for the Indiana Fever versus the Atlanta Dream. So let's get into it. Okay, when it comes to rebounds, Fever had 37. The Dream had 27. They were awful. The Atlanta Dream was awful with getting rebounds, even with 6'8", 6'9" Brittany Griner. She was a bum in tonight's game. When it comes to assists, Fever had 16. Fever had 20. When it comes to steals, the Fever had 5. Dream had 9. When it comes to blocks, they were both even with 2 and 2. For turnovers, for team turnovers, okay, Fever had 15. The Dream had 13. And when it comes to field goal percentages, the Dream had 37.9% accuracy compared to the Fever's 42.9% accuracy. When it comes to three-point percentages, of course, the Dream was terrible. Again, the Dream turned into a nightmare tonight. They were at 26.3% accuracy compared to the Fever's 42.1% accuracy. Now, when it comes to free throw percentages, the Atlanta Dream was at 50%. The Indiana Fever was at 100%. The Indiana Fevers got all of their free throws. Something happened, okay, tonight for the Atlanta Dream. The Atlanta Dream was just drunk, okay? They were more drunk than I am right now, okay? Atlanta Dream was giving nightmare all throughout this game. I never saw somebody get to the third quarter in professional basketball, women's professional basketball, and y'all were only able to have 31, 32 points. What's really going on? Nas Hillman getting 4 foul shots, foul calls put on her name by the third quarter. She had to get sat down. Ryan Howard not even trying to attempt a three-pointer, let alone the other busters of the Atlanta Dream. Now they have no choice but to bring it to a third game of the series. Come this Thursday, they got to travel, the Indiana Fever that is, got to travel down to Atlanta, Georgia to see who really about it, who really about that action. Again, tonight's game was a bust for the Atlanta Dream. Even for the Indiana Fever, they should have got more points up, but again, they did ultimately defeat them by 17 points? 60 to 77 points. That is a blowout. Again, shout out to the Indiana Fever. They stayed on them girls defensively and offensively, even though offensively they could have done way better, okay? Just keeping it real. But again, shout out to the Indiana Fever. They want this, guys. They have a burning desire in them to destroy. Again, the Indiana Fever wants this. They want that championship. Again, they lost too many women due to injuries, and they are not playing with nobody. We might just see this come Thursday, guys. If the Indiana Fever defeats the Atlanta Dream at their home court down there in Atlanta, Georgia, we may see the Indiana Fever advance into the semifinals. Again, the Indiana Fever just turned the Atlanta Dream into the Atlanta Nightmare.